Hi guys, this is Kayla.
And this is Becky, and we're with A Couple of Bees Read.
Yes, and we also enjoy our weekly wine. What is the wine this week, Becky?
Well, this wine this week is like one of my favorites.
Oh.
It's the one that started my love affair with Scout and Cellar. It is Duff Hunt Dog Pinot Noir.
This is what your bottle looks
Yes.
like with a little puppy on it.
All right. I just love this wine, and I know we've had this wine several times, but it periodically shows up in my Scout Circle box, and then when it doesn't show up, I order it anyway. So it's really one of my favorite wines, and I just love it. I mean, it is a bold taste. It's fruity, but it's just so good. Cherry, red and black cherry. Spicy. It's got a hint of spice to it at the end, and it just goes so well with, a good steak, and actually I think it would go excellent with one of Bo's smash burgers on his Blackstone grill. He's going to have to make those for us one day. I think it would be great. Now, you're a salmon person. I think it would go well with grilled salmon and mushrooms. Can you make a portobello stuffed mushroom with this? That would be awesome. So we have a great menu to go with this at some point. And so I would say if you love a good Pinot Noir, this is perfect. I just can't say enough great things about it. And since you're reviewing this book, I thought a red wine would go well with this book.
Yes, this book pairs so well with red wine, specifically this Pinot Noir. Lady Macbeth by Ava Reed. This was one of my aardvark picks, and I'm a former English teacher. I get excited about some Shakespeare, and it surprised me. It surprised me because, yes, it is about Lady Macbeth, wife to Macbeth. In the Shakespeare play Macbeth, for those of you who haven't read that play as many times as I have, because I was teaching it, it is the Scottish play. That's what theater people have to refer to it as, because if you say the name Macbeth in the theater, bad luck. Bad luck. The whole play will go awry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So we have to call it the Scottish play if we're standing in a theater. Or if you're participating in any kind of show, if you're ensemble, whatever, the Scottish play.
The Scottish
Otherwise,
play.
don't discuss it. So the Scottish play Macbeth, it is about Scotsman Macbeth, who on his way back to his castle gets confronted by 3 witches who tell him that he will one day be king, and he's there with his good buddy Fleance. That might be the son's name. Anyway, he's there with his good buddy. They see this. Macbeth goes back to the castle. He's real nervous about this because he's not in line for the throne.
No.
The king is like this totally different dude. And he gets back to his castle, and he gets a note that's like, hey, the king is going to come stay at your house. Well, he's just shared with his wife, Lady Macbeth, these witches say I'm going to be king. And she's like, well, clearly you have to murder the king. And Lady Macbeth is very much painted in the Shakespeare play and in most performances I've seen as really the violent one of the two. Like Macbeth, once the king comes, he chills with him, he goes to bed, and Lady Macbeth is like, Macbeth, go upstairs and murder this man. And he's like, okay, I'll try. And then he goes upstairs, and he comes back downstairs, he's like, I couldn't do it. And so Lady Macbeth has to go upstairs and end Duncan's life, at which point she gets blood on her hands.
Yeah, that's the part I remember of the play.
Yes, she gets
spots.
Out damaged spot. Great monologue. Yeah. But she gets blood on her hands, comes down and tells Macbeth basically the deed is done. So she goes out of her way to set her husband up as King of Scotland. And the result of this for him is that, yes, he becomes king. The result of this for her is that she goes mad with guilt. And there's a beautiful scene that's been done by probably every great actress who's ever lived, where Lady Macbeth comes out she's sleepwalking at night, and she gives the speech, "Ow, damn spot." She keeps trying to wash her hand,
I think,
because she sees blood on it.
I think when I was in school and we did this, we didn't say damn, we said wretched. That's
I'm
what
sorry.
that's what keeps in my mind.
Probably. I could see that. So,
I was in school in the 70s, so we didn't curse in school.
hey, it's in the Bible.
It's okay. You didn't do that. Even if it was in the play, you still don't. You didn't do that at school.
So when I picked this up, I expected it to be told from the story of Lady Macbeth, giving us her side of the story, and possibly painting her in a less villainous light. And it does that. But there is so much more to this. I'm really it's so different from the original play.
Mm-hmm.
For one thing, it's a lot, and I've seen versions of the Macbeth show where it's done with more fantastical elements. This is a straight up fantasy novel. There's a dragon, there are witches, but also Macbeth kind of controls the witches. And Macbeth is very much not a likable person in this. And there's also an added character in a character that is made far more significant in this book. And that is the King Duncan. He had 2 sons mentioned in the play, but one of them doesn't really even show up. But both sons are in this, and one has a much more significant role. And the theme of the book in itself is women in power, and women claiming their power,
right?
Which I think was very well done. I consider myself a feminist, not a feminazi. And when I say feminazi, I mean women who just hate men. This is not that kind of book. Because there are good men and there are bad men, just as there are good women and there are bad women. But she is this woman who has a gift, Lady Macbeth is. And that gift is her beauty, but she's also incredibly clever and incredibly smart. But her beauty is such that there are rumors that she can control men with a look.
Oh Lord, we're back to the face which launched 1,000 ships.
Yes.
Different book, different era, different everything.
Very Helen of Troy, her. Yeah. In this book, of course, there's more history given to her. She comes from the Viking clans, and, as part of the treaty with Macbeth. And her father, whose name was Rybeard, who was known for being, sort of weaselly, a little bit of a manipulator. He manipulated the story about how my daughter was a hag seed, meaning she was cursed by a witch as a baby, and now with one look she can control any man in the room.
Wow.
And part of the riddle, Dad. Well, part of the riddle throughout the book is, can she? And Macbeth is one of these men. He's very interested in women of power. So interested, in fact, that he keeps 3 witches locked up in the castle beneath them. And he is someone who uses women to get power for himself.
Right. Which
I thought was a very interesting theme. And she, the question is constantly can she survive this man? Can she survive this country? And does she really have power?
I guess you have to read the book to find out.
And you have to read the book to find out. I will say this. I will warn those who, there is at least one scene of torture in this. There is warfare and it gets bloody. So know that that's in this. It's medieval times. It's dark in some places. So if you're squeamish about those things, maybe this isn't the version of Lady Macbeth you want to read. But if you want a good feminist fantasy tale,
that's it.
This is it. Yeah. Lady Macbeth by Ava Reed. I think it was just incredibly well done.
Good.
I really want to go and have lunch with Ava Reed and talk Shakespeare with her.
I wonder if Macbeth wishes he had kept his mouth shut about the prediction of the witches.
Oh, I mean,
Maybe not.
I will say things go very differently in this book. Very differently. The true story is nothing like what Shakespeare said.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
There you go.
Until next time.
Tell us what you're reading.
And what are you drinking? Bye, guys.